Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on February 1st, 2016. And, outside of a few segments of this Raw, I would call this Raw pretty much throwaway for the most part. I mean, literally almost nothing really happened on this show outside of a few things that they went off of, like with SmackDown and everything like that, which I'll also get into. Actually, I'll get into right off the bat first because once again we had, what was it, the I don't know, 20,000th or something face turn of the Big Show last Thursday. He goes face against the Wyatt family and attacks them for what they did at the Rumble. And I mean, again, it's in that who cares area, and I get the aspect after the match that the Wyatt family gets one over on the Big Show, but why is Big Show beating Eric Rowan in this match, especially with all three of them out there? I get Big Show's a giant and everything like that, but you're supposed to be building the Wyatt family up as a legitimate threat because it definitely looks like they're going after Brock Lesnar. So why aren't they building them as a legitimate threat to Brock Lesnar in some way, shape, or form? And that would have been a good way of going. Like, they can build them up with getting matches over bigger guys and everything like that going into the next time that they go up against Brock in some way, shape, or form. They don't even have to even mention Brock in any way. They don't even have to keep them interacting. As a matter of fact, they even put at the beginning of the show in Paul Heyman's promo that he was going to deal with the Wyatt family at his time and his pleasure. So it's going to happen in some way. So why aren't they building up the Wyatt family a little bit better by actually, maybe getting him a win or something like that? Because even though it's a scripted show, wins matter. People care when you win. It boggles my mind that Big Show actually gets the win in the match, even though they get one over on him later on in the show. But also, speaking of the beginning of the show, that promo with Paul Heyman, again, there's probably no time that I'm actually bored when Paul Heyman's on the screen in the terms of his talking and everything. And this promo was another area of it. Again, well delivered by him, talking about everything with the triple threat going into Fastlane. And I was glad it was Dean Ambrose that came out this time instead of Roman Reigns to confront Brock Lesnar. We've had this confrontation with Brock and Roman. We've never had it with Dean in some way. And Dean goes out there and, at least delivers a pretty decent promo, setting up for later on in the night. Later on in the night in general there. So, again, that was a fun segment. Good way of starting off Raw, but everything was kind of downhill after that. I mean, you had so many different throwaway matches in there with, they set up a small storyline with Brie and Charlotte to go into their match, but again, that focus isn't supposed to be between the two of them unless they're going to be doing something with Brie and Charlotte going into Fastlane before they go into a program with Sasha, and it looks like Sasha is and I actually like this segment later on the show. The bit with Team Bad was actually pretty good in the end, and it looks like they're setting up something. I think they're setting up something for the two for both sides there, where Sasha's going to be working his face and probably going to be working with Becky Lynch because it's going to be Tamina and Naomi. Probably setting up something for them somewhere down the road, as they're probably setting up a short program with Brie and Charlotte. But in the end, again, Brie goes into this bipolar type sector where I'm a face one week, now I'm a heel, now I'm a face, now I'm a heel, now I'm a face again this week. Okay. But both of those areas, like I said, I liked the Sasha stuff a little bit more than I liked the bit with Brie and Charlotte. Going in there, it was just because, again, that was kind of it was kind of a new change for Sasha. She's finally getting away from Team Bad and everything like that, and she was just trying to break away mutually, and then, nope, not going to happen that way. Not going to happen that way at all, because, as soon as she decided to try to stop them, they decided to attack her, and, in the end, basic turn, but nothing... but not that great, but at least decent in some way. And again, it's probably because the aspect that she'll probably remain consistent in her face roll for a little while, where Brie's kind of like flip-flopping week per week per week per week per week or something in that sense. That's probably why I ended up liking it a little bit more than the Brie and Charlotte stuff. But again, like it's hard to even talk about most of the rest of Raw. So I mean, here's a couple of them that I truly remember, because, like I said, a lot of it was to me was throwaway. Things that I also didn't end up liking, the match with Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler, good again, but we've seen it. And we've seen it a lot. And why are we going back to this 50-50 booking? Like half wins, half losses for people. Especially with Kevin Owens in this case. He needs to be more dominant going on here and in the show. And the factor that, the way they book Dolph Ziggler, he loses so often. Now, why is he beating Kevin Owens in here? Just to continue on the feud? Can't they come up with some other way to continue on the feud? And maybe, have Kevin Owens cheat the win or something like that in this match in order to actually continue on in some way, shape, or form. They could have gone in some aspect of that to continue on that feud if they really wanted to. But again, in this case, I don't see why Dolph Ziggler is beating Kevin Owens. We've seen Kevin Owens beat Dolph so many other times in there. So it's one of those cases like, let's give Ziggler a rub in some way, shape, or form. Don't get me wrong, enjoy the guys' matches, but in the terms of storyline, don't get it here. But let's go on to a segment that I actually kind of liked. And I liked how they've been treating this as they've started off. And oddly enough, I know not too many people will probably actually agree with my thoughts of how they've been going about this. But what they've been doing with AJ Styles, and the aspect of him is like, when a guy debuts, they always want to get always get mic time and have them talk about themselves a little bit to try to get the fans to get behind them in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, AJ had the big pop and big reaction down at the Royal Rumble, but to the casual WWE fan, who's AJ Styles and everything like that. But as soon as they tried to get an interview with Renee Young, Chris Jericho interrupts and doesn't let him speak at all. This time with The Miz, like Miz was talking about what AJ was in every sense, at least in the terms of where he lived and how and like the personality. But he was not letting him get a word in edgewise, and I'm liking this aspect that they're trying to treat him as this like almost like small fish in the larger pond, like he used to only be a big fish inside of a small pond area. So I like how they're kind of treating this at the moment, and just letting AJ go out there and have matches or get into brawls. They're not necessarily having him talk. He's not the best promo guy. At least not right now. Maybe he's learned a little bit more with his time over in New Japan. I didn't get to see any of his New Japan stuff versus everybody else down there. So maybe things have changed over there and they just haven't given that time yet. Or maybe they're trying to hide it a little bit or something in that sense. But I remember, back in TNA, he was never really the best promo guy. He was great in the ring. Could tell a story in the ring so well. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with him and The Miz. I know they're having a match on Thursday for SmackDown, and we'll see if they continue on with it from there afterwards. But maybe have him work a short program with The Miz. I've always liked The Miz, and we'll see where they go with it. This brings me into what the main event of the night was, and this was set up with a backstage segment with Stephanie McMahon and Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, and they're going with the exact storyline I thought they were going to go with these two. It's like, who is going to turn on the other first? And, you know, and they were just blatantly doing it. Like I said, this whole triple threat match, though going to be a fun match, makes no sense in story to do. Like, they name, not only do they name 3 guys that they didn't want in the title picture with Brock, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns, it's like they didn't really make them earn it in any way. It's like they didn't try to throw a hurdle in their way in some way, shape, or form to get this to happen. Like, they've been trying to screw Roman Reigns over so many times, and he's just named #1 contender. Now they're trying to do this whole storyline where Stephanie McMahon is going to do everything in her power to try to break up the 2 brothers in the terms of Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, and it just doesn't work. Like, this storyline just does not work here because, again, like, they were trying to screw Roman Reigns over so in so many ways. They finally get the belt off of him, and he's immediately put back in the title picture, and it's just kind of strange that they would go in that route. I expect one of them to turn heel. Maybe we're gonna get some kind of heel turn at WrestleMania where Roman Reigns goes over at Fastlane, and then he goes over Triple H, but it's revealed that Roman Reigns has been with Triple H the entire time, and then it's going to make absolutely no sense with how they have been working everything up until that point. But more than likely, like I said, I'm interested in how the match is going to look with the 3 of them. Storyline wise, it makes like no sense. And like I said, that backstage segment with Stephanie is like, okay, they're trying to go with this route of we're going to pull these 2 apart, and like, who's going to turn on the other before Fastlane or during Fastlane just to get the title shot. I mean, we'll see where they go with it, but this segment wasn't all that good to me. Then they set up the match with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus the New Day, which I found to be one heck of a fun match. Good, and again, great promo at the beginning by the New Day, continuing on with their bit with the Usos, and also their seemingly semi-feud with The Rock at this point, because obviously they went up with Roman Reigns, again, another one of Rock's cousins, so they brought The Rock into that fray a little bit, at least in their promo. So we'll see if that's going to be the case where, you know, maybe Rock's going to be working something with New Day at WrestleMania or something like that. I'm not sure how they're going to go with it, but we'll see where everything goes. On that sense, like I said, I like the match with Roman Reigns and Dean versus the New Day. I thought it was entertaining with Paul Heyman out there on the microphone, on commentary. Wasn't bad either. And then, of course, it ended out with Brock coming out there and getting one over on Dean Ambrose because Dean had come out and interrupted him early in the day. So again, good start, pretty good finish. Middle was I mean, you also had the bit with Triple H talking about everything talking with Brock about and trying to get in Brock's head about the whole aspect is everything going soft in Suplex City, because of course he didn't last all that long in the Rumble and everything like that. So you have that tension there too. So they're trying to build tension in that sense. But yeah, I mean, you had a couple good spots in there. I liked the Miz TV segment this week. I thought it was actually pretty good with AJ Styles and how they've been treating that whole area of, maybe AJ's going to be like this anomaly and you don't fully know who he is until later on. So we'll see where they go with that as well. But overall, like I said, beginning good, a couple like snippets, sprinkles of okay in the middle, and basically most of the show was just kind of throwaway after that. I mean, there wasn't much that was really going on the show in the terms of building up towards their Mania matches, or even Fastlane. I mean, you had the bit with, you did have one announcement with Alberto Del Rio getting his rematch with Kalisto, so that basically throws out the window that Del Rio is going to be out for a little while. That he's going to have his match with Kalisto at Fastlane, and you got to do that one again because of rematch clauses and everything like that, and what they typically do with title matches. So I mean, okay with that. The last match was a little botchy, but wasn't bad, and I expect it to be pretty good again. So we'll see. We'll see how they work that one. I expect them to keep Kalisto over in this case until Sin Cara comes back in, and we'll see where they go with that. I'm trying to think of if there was anything else that I'm actually missing. Oh yeah, my aspect is on this one. I get he's the smaller guy with Kalisto, but why are they having him just beat Rusev by countout? He's champion. Why can't they have him win by just randomly catching him with a Serena del Sol or something like that, like he did with Del Rio? Again, why have him win by countout? So we'll see where they go with that feud again. I mean, it's probably going to end. I think it's going to end with Kalisto going over. So, like I said, a few moments ago was, Raw had a good start, good end, but the middle was kind of, where are we going with this? And not a good way of going, at least in my mind, with the exception of a couple segments that I may mention too. So that is my review for Monday Night Raw, and I thank you guys for watching.